Welcome to Bariatric Business Accelerator, the podcast created for busy weight loss practitioners and their teams who want to systematize, simplify, and accelerate the growth of their new or existing weight loss practice. Today, we're talking about a topic that is front and center for every bariatric practice right now: how to build a sustainable program in a market that is changing faster than ever. We're all feeling this. From the explosive rise of GLP-1 medications, like semaglutide or tirzepatide, to massive shifts in how patients discover their providers, the landscape has transformed almost overnight, even though it feels like it has been a long haul here. And while change can feel overwhelming, it's also something that creates opportunity if you know where to focus your efforts. And this is where it can really make a huge difference. So let's walk through a few key strategies that you can start using now to future-proof your practice or build some stability at this moment. First of all, you want to recognize the rise and the limits of GLP-1 medications. Prescriptions for GLP-1 is something that has skyrocketed over 300% in recent years. For many patients, medication is now seen as the first step rather than an alternative to surgery. But this doesn't mean that surgery is going away by any means or that the demand will stay predictable. Prices, access to medication, and competition are shifting constantly, which you see, I know, every day. And so do I in our practice and in all the practices that I work with. So if you haven't already, make sure that you're educating your patients on why surgery remains the most evidence-based long-term solution. And that message shouldn't be hidden. It should be visible throughout your patient journey for bariatric surgeons and for others, because we know for patients who are at a higher BMI, that is a better solution long term. So secondly, you want to adapt to how patients are finding you. A few years ago, you could maybe set your marketing plan and let it run almost all year. You just kept doing the same thing over and over. But those days are definitely over. Today, over half of their patients start their health research and their journey using voice assistants or tools like ChatGPT. And they're not just using Google like we used to think. So we'd have Google AdWords, all that out there. But 74% say that they trust education from physician-led social media. So we want to capitalize on that. If you haven't audited where your marketing dollars are going, now is definitely the time. You might be missing opportunities or investigating in channels that just don't work anymore. I've had a couple practices totally turn off their paid advertising, and it has not made a change in the number of leads that they're getting, which is a huge eye-opener, which means we need to be doing things differently. The third strategy that you can do is to differentiate your practice. I know this sounds very commonplace, and you've heard it before from me, but every bariatric surgeon or every weight loss practitioner can talk about procedures, but far fewer can answer the question, why should I as a patient trust you with my life-changing surgery or my life-changing treatment? Your personal brand really does matter. So even if you work in a hospital system, patients are looking for connection and confidence in you as a person. You want to ask yourself, what makes you uniquely different? What makes you uniquely qualified? How are you telling that story to your patients? And more importantly, or as important, is exactly where your patients are finding out about you. Where are they hearing this? Is it your website? Is it your educational videos? Is it your educational materials? If you're not sure, you're probably just blending in and not standing out. The fourth strategy is to use AI as an ally. AI is disrupting how patients find information and how practices create their content. It's making it actually a lot easier. It's making it so that you can still be personalized and maybe not be the person who's on the camera like I am right now doing the video or doing crazy jumping around things you see out there. The challenge is that AI-generated search results often rely on citations and media coverage, and if you haven't invested in credible sources and visibility, you might be invisible in the summaries that AI is creating for patients who are searching for the services that you offer in your area. But AI is also a gift. If you haven't played around with it, you really should. You can repurpose content faster than ever before. For example, you can spend one day recording short videos, answering common patient questions, things that you firmly believe in, things that you want patients to know about, and things that, of course, that they're searching for. And you can use AI to turn them into blog posts, reels, and downloadable guides. So many things that make it so much easier for us nowadays. Suddenly, you have a month's worth of content or more without having to show up on camera every single time. You kind of do it once and then add all these assets and then set it out there. You want to build smart systems is the fifth strategy. The most successful practices aren't working harder, they're building better systems. So start by tracking your numbers. Where are your leads coming from? And also, what does it cost for you to acquire a new patient through the sources that you are using? That's more of a marketing system. You also want to look at what marketing efforts are actually driving your revenue, bringing in patients who are actually becoming established patients and long-term clients. So for marketing anyhow, once you know your numbers, you can actually optimize everything, your staffing, patient pathways, follow-ups, and profitability. And that's your numbers, not just for marketing, but all the other aspects of your practice. You know I'm a big numbers girl, so having those systems in place and monitoring those metrics is so important. Sixth, you want to remember that resilience is a choice. Some practices are waiting for things to get back to normal. But the truth is, normal isn't coming back again. We're not going back to those good old days, if that's what you feel that is. Practices that thrive are the ones that honestly are measuring their outcomes consistently, measuring their marketing, measuring their team performance, measuring patient satisfaction, making sure that they have reviews out there. They're measuring consistently every month. They're showing up where patients are searching for them. They're sharing why they're the trusted guide for these patients, for the ones that you want to serve, and why they should trust you the most. They're systematizing operations so nothing falls through the cracks. And then finally, if you take nothing else away from this episode, let it be this: waiting is not a strategy. Building a sustainable foundation right now is the only way to get ahead and to stay ahead. So I want to thank you for listening. I know your days are busy, and I love bringing this information to you. I love all the clients I get to work with, seeing how things are done across the U.S. and helping people improve their operations and their outcomes and their overall volume. So if you found it helpful, be sure to subscribe, share it with a colleague that may also find it helpful. And if I can ever be of assistance, reach out to me, Carol, Karol, at weightlosspracticebuilder.com. And there's tons of free resources in addition to this at weightlosspracticebuilder.com. Take care.